trajectory. There are two different angles that we've discussed. You have the vertical impact angle and the horizontal. For the vertical impact angle, it is going to show you the profile view of the wall. It's going to tell you up or down of the shot, and you are going to use SO, which is the sine-trig equation that we discussed. For the horizontal impact angle, it is going to show you bird's eye view of the wall. It's going to tell you if the shot went right or left, and it is going to use the CA, or the cosine trig function that we have discussed. Keep in mind that for both impact angles, the hypotenuse is always the distance that the projectile went through the wall, which you will need to measure. So let's take a look at this crime scene. If you arrived here on this scene, you would see that there is a bedroom and then there is a kitchen. And on this wall in the kitchen, there are gunshots on the wall. Now remember, in order for you to calculate gunshot trajectory, the shots must go through the wall and come out the other side. So we have what appear to be entrance shots on this wall in the kitchen, and on the other side in the bedroom, we have what appear to be exit. You need both of these in order to determine the gunshot trajectory. So before we begin doing any of our measurements, remember the photography that we've discussed. You need to ensure that you are doing perimeter ruler or grid or a combination of both. Now remember, when we discussed perimeter ruler, you can use anything that you have. In crime scene, we get creative, which means you may use something like this, a big measuring tape. You may use something like a yardstick. Really, it's anything you have with measurement that you can put around the shots, and later we'll discuss blood stains in the same way, and that happens on scenes as well. So, what we're going to do is you would take the measuring tape, and remember, perimeter ruler is going around the edge. You're going to put it on the wall, and you would secure this. Now again, get creative. You can use duct tape, fingerprint tape, anything you have to secure those, and then you would follow your rules of photography to photograph this wall. So that would be the perimeter ruler method. Also remember that we need to do something called road mapping. Now in the reading for photography of bloodstains and gunshots, road mapping was explained. This is where you are going to put little rulers on your shots to mark them. Remember when we use placards versus rulers. In a situation like this, you are not taking the gunshots with you, but we need to clearly label them. So in this instance, we're going to take little sticky rulers, and we are going to begin to label these shots. Now you must articulate which direction you are labeling these. So let's talk about directionality. This wall, I know, is the south wall of the kitchen. That would be written in my field notes and also in my sketch. This is the south wall. I know that direction is west. So I am starting on the east side of the wall, and I'm labeling my shot. I labeled it as entry A. So I started east, and I am now moving west. And I'm labeling it entry B. My last one I'm going to label for this example is going to be entry C. Remember, in your notes, in your field notes, and in your final report, you have to explain that you labeled the gunshots on the south kitchen wall from east to west as entry A, B, C. That has to be clear. If you don't explain that well, a jury will not understand where you are in this scene. Okay, so now we have the perimeter ruler done, we have our labeling done, we can now get into the fun math that you all love so much. So let's talk about the measurements that are going to be required. For the vertical, let's begin with the vertical impact angle. vertical impact angle, remember, is telling us the up-down of the shot. So we need to measure from the floor to the center of the shot on both the entry and the exit side. So let's start with the entry side. Remember, I'm on the south kitchen wall. I'm going to measure from the floor to the shot. And it is 39 inches. So in my field notes, which I've already started, I'm going to write this down. I suggest preparing your notes in advance when you have gunshots on a scene. This will help you immensely when you are there. So I've already written my vertical shot, or my vertical impact angle for shot A. I know I'm doing the entry. I went from the floor to the hole, and we just said that is 39 inches. Okay, so now let's do the same thing on the exit. Now remember, we said the exit side, we said this way was north. This is the north wall of the bedroom. Again, make sure that that is clear in your notes and your final sketches when you're doing trajectory and the crime scene sketch. It's this first shot. We're measuring again from the floor to the shot. And this is 38.5 inches. So coming back to our notes, we're still on vertical. Shot A, the exit from the floor to the hole, we said was 38.5 inches. All right, hopefully you guys are with me so far. All right, now, the last thing that we need, remember, is the hypotenuse, the distance that this shot went through the wall. Now, there's no way for us to know this without taking the wall apart. The only way we can do this is using something like a rod. What you're going to do is take the rod, go through your entry, and come out the exit. Now, when you see that, you can see both sides, hopefully, of the shot. You can see the rod going through, and just looking at the rod, you can tell it is going slightly downward. Okay? What you need to do to get the hypotenuse, you're going to take something like a marker. You're going to hold this rod steady. We're going to mark it on the entry side. And then we are going to carefully hold this in place and mark it on the exit. So now we know the entry and exit. We're going to remove this. When you look at this rod, you can now see our two lines. The distance between those lines is the distance the projectile went through the wall. So we need to take a measurement of that. We're just going to use our measuring tape. That is 2 inches. We're going to write this down here. All right, you guys, so now we have all the measurements we need to calculate our vertical impact angle. So let's start putting all of this together. So remember, vertical impact angle is showing you the profile. Profile view is the side of it. So here's the floor, here's the wall. We said the south wall of the kitchen was our entry side, north wall of the bedroom was our exit side. We said that it was going slightly down, which means our entry is a little higher solve for. Now, in the wonderful world of math that we all love so much, this angle here equals this angle here. And that is just because that's what the math god said. Alright, so just remember that this one, when it makes a little bow tie like this, those equal each other. So that is also x. Now, you guys just measured and told me that my hypotenuse was 2 inches. That's the distance through the wall. That's this part right here. Now, what we need to know is this measurement right there, that small one. That measurement is going to be the bigger number minus the smaller number. It does not matter which way this goes. You always want the bigger number minus the smaller number. Sometimes in either homework questions or in other test questions, students have often ended up with negative numbers, and it's confusing to them. Do not make it a negative number. It will always be positive. Simply remember bigger number minus smaller number. So in this case, our 39 minus 38.5, this small one is 0.5. Now, let's plug all of this into our math equation.